Today, we're going to unpack a pretty fascinating paradox. It's the story of how a legendary jeweler, yup, a master of precious stones and metals, completely changed the game for one of the most essential items in a modern man's wardrobe.
All right, let's just dive right in. When I say the name Cartier, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
For most of us, I'm guessing it's images of stunning jewelry, those iconic red boxes, maybe even royalty, right? Cartier is it's synonymous with ultimate luxury, a symbol of pure elegance. But what if I told you that this master jeweler is also responsible for one of the biggest inventions in modern menswear? I'm serious. Cartier, the jeweler, invented the modern men's wristwatch as we know it today. To really get just how revolutionary this was, we've got to turn back the clock, way back, to the turn of the 20th century. Back then, telling time was a totally different and very divided experience. And you can see that clear divide right here. For guys, telling time was this whole formal, two-handed deal with a pocket watch. It was a tool you kept tucked away. Now, on the flip side, women wore these delicate bracelet-like timepieces called wristlets. But here's the catch. They were seen as just jewelry, pretty accessories, not as serious, functional tools. But this whole rigid way of thinking was about to be completely shattered, and not in a quiet watchmaker's workshop, but high above the streets of Paris. All thanks to a very specific problem that a very famous man was having. And this is the guy. Meet Alberto Santos Dumont. He was a famous Brazilian aviator, an inventor, a style icon, and a close friend of Louis Cartier. This man was a true pioneer, pushing the limits of what was possible in those early, fragile flying machines. And up there, he faced a very modern problem. So while flying, he complained to Cartier that trying to fumble around for a pocket watch while also trying to, control an aircraft, well, it was dangerously impractical. He needed a way to check the time while keeping both hands on the controls. He needed a real solution. And this right here is a perfect example of how solving a very specific problem for one person can end up sparking a worldwide revolution. Louis Cartier didn't just listen. He went and invented something. In 1904, Louis Cartier delivered that solution. And look, this was not just a watch. It was a piece of purpose-built engineering for the wrist. That square case was a huge departure from the round pocket watches. The integrated design made it feel like one cohesive piece. And those exposed screws, that was a bold nod to industrial marvels of the time like the Eiffel Tower. With this one creation, Cartier basically masculinized the wristwatch. By linking it to the most daring, forward-thinking activity of the time, flying, he instantly turned it into a symbol of adventure, of progress, of modern masculinity. But Cartier's genius wasn't just in the incredible design. It was also in the strategy. Their market timing was, well, absolutely perfect. Just take a look at this timeline. It shows their incredible foresight. They created the men's wristwatch way back in 1904 and started selling it to the public in 1911. Now think about that. That's years before World War I made wristwatches a military necessity for soldiers in the trenches. So what this means is that while the war made wristwatches common and practical, Cartier had already claimed the very top of the market. They weren't just followers of a trend. They were the ones who started it, positioning the wristwatch as a luxury item for innovators and adventurers. And that spirit of innovating for the user, well, it didn't just stop in 1904. It's still right at the core of Cartier's strategy today, more than a century later. Take this number, 8. What in the world could the number 8 possibly represent in the world of a luxury watchmaker? It's the length of their warranty, one of the longest in the entire industry. But this is about more than just a guarantee. By having customers register online for it, Cartier uses this 8-year promise to build a direct, long-term relationship with them. That's a very modern strategy for such a historic brand. And you can see this user-focused approach in everything they do today. From a solar-powered movement that lasts over 16 years, to straps made from sustainable apple waste, to a patented system that lets you change straps with no tools at all. Every one of these innovations is focused on making the owner's experience better, just like they did for Santos Dumont. That friendship didn't just create a new product, it really redefined a fundamental part of our modern lives. It took time out of our pockets and put it right on our wrists, right in the middle of the action of our day. So the story of Cartier isn't just about jewelry and watches. It's really a masterclass in seeing a problem, creating an elegant solution, and then defining an entirely new market before anyone else even knew that market existed.
And it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What problem, what inconvenience is hiding in plain sight today, just waiting for its own brilliant game-changing solution? What's the next pocket watch?